Andrew Berry is watching his role transform in real time. As the Browns' general manager, Berry has spent years shaping the roster through conventional front office structures, only to now see those norms challenged by a reported offer Deion Sanders that includes full roster control. It's a rare concession in today's NFL, and a direct signal that Cleveland is willing to overhaul not just its coaching staff, but its entire organizational hierarchy. Deion, coming off a transformative stint at Colorado, isn't being courted as just a coach. He's being handed power. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. The kind that could change everything in Berea. What makes this move more complex is the presence of SHEDEUR Sanders, now stepping into the QB1 spotlight. If the Browns go through with this, they're doing more than hiring a coach. They're entrusting their franchise's identity to a family partnership. The risks are huge: team unity, media scrutiny, and potential internal friction. But in a city tired of safe bets that lead nowhere, this isn't just a gamble. It's a last stand for change. Segment Deion Sanders speaking. The NFL hasn't seen anything like this. Not in decades. The Cleveland Browns are reportedly ready to flip the league upside down with a move that's part coaching gamble, part family saga, and fully headline bait. According to multiple insiders, the Browns are offering Deion Sanders, yes, Coach Prime, one of the biggest coaching contracts in NFL history, complete with full control of the roster. No front office oversight, no committee-style drafting, just Deion at the wheel of an NFL franchise. This isn't just about bringing Sanders into the NFL coaching ranks. It's about giving him the keys to the castle and asking him to rebuild an identity-starved franchise from the ground up. The Browns, notorious for their instability at quarterback and their carousel of head coaches, are now signaling they're done playing it safe. They want spectacle, they want transformation, and they want Deion Sanders. The offer reportedly includes control over player personnel decisions, something only a handful of NFL coaches have ever received. Think Belichick in New England or Shanahan in Denver. That's the level of autonomy being floated here. But unlike those legends, Deion has zero NFL coaching experience. His resume is built in college football, most recently at Colorado, where he injected swagger and star power into a program that was circling the drain. His impact there was undeniable. He turned Colorado into a national conversation piece overnight. And that kind of cultural shift is exactly what the Browns think they need. Not just a coach who wins games, but one who commands headlines, boosts morale, and rebrands the franchise's image across the league. Now, here's where things really get wild. The offer isn't just for Deion. It's potentially part of a package deal. The Browns' rookie quarterback, SHEDEUR Sanders, Deion's son, is about to make his first NFL start. And everything about the situation points to a long-term plan to build a franchise around him. By all accounts, SHEDEUR has impressed the locker room and coaching staff, poised, focused, and in control. He's shown leadership that's rare for a first-year QB, and his grasp of the offense has teammates quietly optimistic. There's pressure, of course. There always is in Cleveland. But SHEDEUR isn't walking in like a rookie. He's walking in like someone raised for this moment. At recent press conferences, SHEDEUR has addressed the speculation head-on, without flinching. He's praised his father's leadership, but made clear that he's here to compete at the highest level, with or without family connections. Still, the optics of the Browns possibly pairing father and son in the most visible roles on the team, head coach and quarterback, are impossible to ignore. If this deal goes through, it wouldn't just reshape the Browns. It would reshape the conversation around nepotism, leadership, and legacy in the NFL. Critics have already begun warning that bringing in Deion to coach his son could divide a locker room. But supporters argue could create something no other team has: a unified vision built on trust, respect, and familiarity. For Cleveland fans, this isn't just news, it's a potential lifeline. The Browns have burned through quarterbacks, cycled through head coaches, and overhauled their front office more times than most franchises change logos. The instability has become a punchline, and the fan base has had enough. What they crave isn't just wins. It's identity, cohesion, a reason to believe in something again. This offer to Deion Sanders signals the franchise is ready to go all in on a new era. An era that doesn't just tweak the culture, it detonates the old one. And at the center of that explosion, a charismatic, no-nonsense leader who's proven he can motivate young men and dominate the narrative on and off the field. The biggest question hovering over all of this? What happens to current head coach Kevin Stefanski? His job security has been teetering for weeks, and the team's inconsistency has only added more fuel to the fire. He's guided the team through difficult stretches, but the leash has grown shorter by the game. Reports suggest Stefanski is aware of the growing noise around Deion. Internally, the organization remains divided. Some want to stick with an NFL-tested coach. Others believe the fan base needs something bolder. Someone who isn't afraid to take risks, command a locker room, and flip the Browns' stale identity into something people actually talk about. For this deal to happen, Browns GM Andrew Berry would need to step aside in a major way. The offer to Deion Sanders includes full control of the roster, which would essentially neuter Berry's role. That kind of power shift isn't just rare in the NFL. It's almost unheard of. Berry's faces share of scrutiny, but giving up that level of control would mark a turning point in his tenure. It would mean ceding not just decision-making authority, but also the trust of ownership. And if this gamble goes south, Berry's name would be permanently tied to it. But if it works, if Deion brings in the right players, molds SHEDEUR into a franchise QB, and leads a team to relevancy, then Berry could go down as the architect who made the boldest move of his career and somehow made it work. Deion has made public statements in recent weeks praising SHEDEUR's development and character, but he hasn't commented directly on the Browns' offer. Still, sources close to the situation say there's real interest. Sanders has always believed in betting on himself. If he thinks he can win at the NFL level and build around his son in the process, this could be the kind of challenge he's been waiting for. He's been vocal about culture, discipline, and building young men into leaders. That message resonated in college. The question is, will it work a room full of millionaire veterans who aren't used to being called leaders of men in post-game speeches? SHEDEUR's upcoming start is a pivotal moment. The front office is watching. The coaching staff is watching. And most importantly, his father is watching. If he delivers, it strengthens the case for the package deal. If he struggles, questions about whether the Browns are building around the right player will only intensify. So far, SHEDEUR hasn't shied away from the spotlight. He's carried himself like a veteran, and teammates have publicly backed him. His leadership is earning quiet respect, and that's giving ownership a reason to consider a full reboot. Not just a new coach, not just a new quarterback, but an entirely new era. All of this lands against the backdrop of years of dysfunction in Cleveland, failed draft picks, rotating quarterbacks, coaching hires that never stuck. The Browns haven't just struggled. They've redefined what a struggling franchise looks like in the modern NFL. This is why the Deion and SHEDEUR proposal feels different. Not because it's safe. It's anything but. It's a swing for the fences in a league that punishes bold moves more than it rewards them. But it's also the kind of risk that could change everything. If it fails, it will be remembered as another Browns blunder. But if it succeeds, it could transform Cleveland from NFL punchline to powerhouse. Whether you're rooting for chaos, legacy, or just good football, this story has it all. The pressure is mounting, the stakes are real, and everyone's watching. If you want to keep up with more wild twists and stories like this, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what comes next. There's no avoiding it anymore. Kevin Stefanski's job is on the line. The media won't stop asking about the rumors, and the fan base is starting to tune him out entirely. With SHEDEUR stepping into the spotlight and Deion's name circling like a hawk overhead, Stefanski's grip on the locker room feels increasingly fragile. The team isn't imploding, but the energy is flat, the offense inconsistent, and the results never quite enough to silence the critics. What's especially brutal? Stefanski isn't some clueless placeholder. He's brought the Browns to playoffs. He's weathered quarterback injuries and front office reshuffles. But this, competing with Coach Prime for the heart of franchise, that's a whole different battlefield. And it's one where narrative and star power might outweigh win-loss records. The visual of Deion Sanders on an NFL sideline isn't just compelling, it's historic. Coach Prime, clad in black shades and gold chains, calling plays on Sundays? That image alone would dominate sports media and social timelines week after week. That's part of the pitch, too. The Browns know what Deion represents. He's a one-man marketing engine, a spotlight magnet, and a disruptor who makes everything bigger. In Cleveland, a franchise constantly fighting for attention, Deion would instantly shift the center of gravity. And it's not just about flash. It's about drawing a generation of fans who don't remember the Browns winning anything, who've never had a reason to care. Deion on the sideline gives them a reason. At the mic, SHEDEUR has been steady. No media traps, no unnecessary flash. He speaks with a kind of polish that makes you forget this is his NFL debut. But he also carries the weight of something few rookies face, being the centerpiece of a massive franchise bet. The Browns aren't just developing a quarterback. They're potentially building an entire regime around him. He hasn't asked for it, but the pressure is built into the moment. His performance doesn't just determine his future. It shapes the decision on whether to bring his father into the league. His first game is less a debut and more a referendum. And everyone knows it. Andrew Berry's role in all of this can't be overstated. The GM has cultivated a reputation as forward-thinking, disciplined, and analytically driven. But this move, this potential handing over power to Deion, would shatter the very structure Berry helped build. That's not just a personnel change. It's a philosophical one. People inside the organization are reportedly split. Some believe Berry could coexist with Deion, focusing on contracts and cap while Prime handles a roster. Others say that's fantasy. There's no half measure when you hand over control. If Deion comes in, Berry either steps aside or gets steamrolled. That's the reality of giving someone full control. The locker room dynamics are already tricky, but SHEDEUR's presence adds another layer. So far, he's avoided the pitfalls that come with being the coach's kid. His leadership preparation and poise have earned respect. Players see he's not just here because of his last name. He's here because he can play. But let's be real. If Deion steps in, that changes the tone instantly. Teammates will start looking for signs of favoritism. Every bad throw gets magnified. Every compliment becomes suspect. If SHEDEUR's performance dips at all, the calls of nepotism will be deafening. Still, that's a bridge they haven't crossed yet. Right now, SHEDEUR is doing everything right. And if he can keep the momentum going on the field, it gives the Browns a leverage they need to make the Deion move with some level of justification. The Browns' last few games have been a masterclass in chaos. Ugly wins, close losses, and a general sense that the team is playing without a true identity. The defense shows flashes, the offense sputters, and no one can quite figure out what this team is supposed to be. That's what makes the Deion pitch so compelling. Because it's not just about better coaching. It's about giving this team a voice. For years, Cleveland has felt like a team without a narrator. No face of the franchise, no cultural heartbeat. Deion brings both instantly. Whether or not it translates to wins is still a gamble. But for a team that's lacked identity for decades, it's not hard to see why ownership is tempted. Coach Prime hasn't said much publicly about the NFL rumors, but that's standard for him. When the time is right, he'll make his move. For now, he's letting the media do the talking, and there's plenty of it. Analysts are split. Some say he's not ready. Others argue that he's the exact kind of leader today's players need. Direct, inspiring, and unapologetically himself. That last part matters more than people think. NFL locker rooms are filled with ego, money, and personality. Deion knows how to manage that. He lived it. He doesn't need to fake credibility. He walks in with it. That's a major edge over first-time NFL coaches who come from the college ranks. He's been where these players are. That earns respect. In practice, SHEDEUR has been locked in. Teammates have gone out of their way to back him up publicly. They see the work ethic, the calm under pressure, and the desire to earn his spot. That's what's giving the Browns front office confidence. They're not just enamored with the story. They see the foundation of something sustainable. A quarterback who wants to lead. A coach who brings a culture. A fan base desperate for a reason to believe. It's all there, waiting to be put together. If SHEDEUR lights it up in his debut, it changes everything. Not just for him, but for Deion, for Barry, and for the franchise. One game won't decide it all, but it could tip the scales. Stefanski, to his credit, hasn't lashed out. He's handled the questions like a pro. But behind the scenes, the tension is building. Every decision is being scrutinized through the lens of, is this his last game? Ownership hasn't made any public statements. That silence is louder than any vote of confidence. He knows how this league works. When the noise gets this loud, it rarely quiets down. And if SHEDEUR shines while Deion waits in the wings, it might already be out of his hands. The Browns are standing on the edge of something big. It could be a breakthrough. It could be another disaster. That's always the risk when you bet everything on a single narrative. But for the first time in a long time, people are paying attention to Cleveland, not for dysfunction, not for failure, but because something might actually be changing. Legacy, control, family, culture, it's all colliding in this one story. Deion Sanders might be about to walk into the NFL as not just a coach, but a cultural force. And if SHEDEUR delivers, it's not just possible, it's inevitable. The NFL has long resisted change. It's a league built on tradition, hierarchy, and tight control. So, the idea of giving Deion Sanders, media magnet, college coach, an outsider in every sense, full control of franchise, that's not just bold. That's unheard of. And that's exactly what's on the table. People inside league circles are baffled, not because they doubt Deion's leadership or charisma, but because full roster control is sacred territory. Most head coaches get input, not ownership. Deion isn't asking for influence. He's being offered authority. And if he takes it, he's rewriting the NFL rulebook on what it means to lead a team. Which brings us back to Andrew Barry. The Browns GM has poured years into rebuilding this roster, brick by analytical brick. But this offer Deion isn't a tweak. It's a teardown of the current hierarchy. If Coach Prime walks through that door, Barry's voice in the war room likely drops to a whisper. So why even consider it? Desperation. That's the answer no one wants to say out loud, but it's the truth. The Browns have tried everything else. First-round picks, hotshot coordinators, rebuilds, rebrands. Nothing sticks. Maybe Deion, with all his energy and audacity, is the only card left to play. And Barry knows it, which is why the rumor mill hasn't heard a hard no from him, just silence. Meanwhile, SHEDEUR's media appearances have been clinical. No theatrics, no hint of entitlement. Just a young quarterback answering questions like a 10-year vet. He's been careful to separate himself from the swirling narrative, but his last name keeps dragging him back into it. It's not lost on him that his play could swing this entire decision. One clutch drive, one composure-filled win, and the case for bringing in Deion gets stronger. One bad read, one implosion under pressure, and critics will be lining up to tear down the dream before it even begins. But pressure is nothing new to SHEDEUR. He's grown up in it. He's been groomed for the spotlight. And whether or not Deion ends up on the Browns sideline, SHEDEUR's name is already carved into the heart of this team's future. For Kevin Stefanski, though, this is a nightmare scenario. The kind where you can feel your grip slipping, even as you try to act like everything's fine. He hasn't done anything to deserve this level of instability. But in the NFL, timing is everything, and right now, the timing is terrible. He's walking into every post-game presser, knowing that the real questions aren't about the game. They're about Deion, about SHEDEUR, about whether the Browns are even his team anymore. It's hard enough to coach through a quarterback change. It's near impossible when you're also auditioning against the biggest story in football. The games themselves have become secondary to the drama. Each week, fans aren't just watching to see who wins. They're dissecting body language, leadership moments, sideline interactions. Every touchdown SHEDEUR throws is a headline. Every misstep Stefanski makes is a countdown. Cleveland Stadium feels like a set. The games are episodes in a show everyone suddenly cares about. Not because the Browns are dominating, but because they might be detonating everything we thought we knew about team building in the NFL. It's messy, it's high risk, and it's more captivating than anything else going on inside the locker room. SHEDEUR has kept things steady. Teammates have reportedly responded to his communication style, his confidence, and most importantly, his willingness to earn his place. He hasn't pulled the coach's son card. He hasn't asked for special treatment. He just plays. That's helped cool some of the whispers about nepotism. For now, but it's fragile. If Deion comes in, the dynamic changes instantly. The pressure on SHEDEUR will skyrocket. The grace period disappears. Every play will carry twice the weight, because it won't just be about the scoreboard. It'll be about proving the Browns didn't sell their soul for a headline. And that might be the hardest part, because no matter how composed SHEDEUR is, no quarterback can escape that microscope forever. There's no question that Deion Sanders has already won the court of public opinion. The memes, the interviews, the legacy, it all adds up to persona that people want to root for. He brings drama and inspiration in equal measure. And in a league where eyeballs are currency, he's gold. From a business standpoint, bringing in Coach Prime is a dream. Jersey sales, national games, fan engagement. The Browns would go from regional agony to global curiosity. And if he actually wins, it's historic. That's why the photos of Deion at college games, surrounded by energy and admiration, have suddenly taken on new weight. People are imagining those visuals on NFL sidelines. And whether the league likes it or not, fans are already sold. Back on the field, the Browns remain unpredictable. There are flashes of brilliance, yes, but the instability lingers. That's the justification behind this potential overhaul. When the foundation keeps cracking, sometimes you don't patch it. You bulldoze it. Deion Sanders represents the bulldozer. SHEDEUR is the cornerstone. And the Browns? They're the construction site. It's risky. It's controversial. And it might just be their only shot at relevance in a league that doesn't wait around for franchises to figure it out. This story isn't over. It's just getting louder. Whether it ends in triumph or flames, you'll want to see it unfold. So if you're watching this drama as closely as we are, drop your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button, and make sure you're subscribed. Because whatever happens next in Cleveland, it's not going to be quiet.